Okay, I think I am live. So hello and welcome to Friday Lambda Lab. This week has been the week of nothing but disruption. Lots of sick children and field trips and days off, school closure days and other things. So my whole schedule is a hot mess. Regular Lambda Lab time got the boot, and it's probably going to be a mini one now. Um, Harry, thank you for confirming that you can hear me, and also for being here, because I think you might be the only one at the moment, but that's okay. Um, I did only give about 3 minutes notice that this was happening, so there's only so much you can expect. Yeah, so I've got a handful of kind of mini things, um, including like this one and this one. I swear have been on my list for more than 12 months, maybe more than 24 months. But I always get carried away with more exciting things, and these are worth doing. And then these are a couple of other things that kind of occurred to me more recently. Mostly it's just like small things that I've never gotten around to sort of writing up, so to speak. Um, right. So yeah, I'm just going to dive on in. Let's see. I'm going to start with this one. It's so simple, but let's just take sequence of, I don't know, 20, and then let's take mod of this by 5. So it's the kind of classic, game board thing. If you're like rolling dice and moving around a board or something like that, you probably want these numbers going from 1 to 5 instead of going from 1 to 4 and then 0 and then 1 to 4 and then 0 and so on. And so, it's easy to get around that. You just say -1 and then you say +1 and you're done. But instead, let's have our own mod function, which is going to be, well, let's see, I'll just take the exact names of the number and divisor. Kind of what you'd expect. So we're going to have number, divisor, and we're going to have an optional argument called start. And then we're just going to say mod number minus divisor, number minus start by divisor plus start, except I want my default value of start to be 1. So we're going to say let start be, if omitted, start, then 1. And then we do that. And then we save lambda as. I'm just going to call it underscore mod. Then if I say underscore mod of this by 5, it does 1 to 5. But if I say I want it to be from 65, then I get 66, 67, 68, 69. That's not quite. Well, I guess that is what I wanted. Because let's say we have this starting from 65, then yeah, 65 is 65. I was looking, thinking, 5 is 65, but yeah, that's right. If you have 5 things in a range starting from 65, then that is how they come out. The reason I'm doing 65, and it kind of links to the cipher lambda over here. Eric says, is this Lambda Lovers Anonymous? I'm here for the 12 Let's Step program. 12 Let's Steps, that's not nearly enough. This week's ones are going to be simple, but some of them have a lot more. Anyway, so if we have something like sequence of 26 starting from 65, and then we take char of those, that is the Unicode or ASCII code character codes for the alphabet. And so it's easy to see a situation where you would want to say code of this plus, I don't know, an offset of 17, let's say. Then you want to mod that by, dim mod that by 26 with a start of 65, and then wrap that back in char. And let's start with a smaller offset so it's easier to see what's going on. So you can see, the natural ability to kind of have it start from wherever, 1 being the default, can be helpful there. All right, so that's mod, and then cipher. I honestly cannot believe that I've written cipher lambdas at various different points, but I've never added one to my collection. Don't really understand why, but so let's start with some text to be encrypted. So first we're going to take the letters of that. I guess let's do it here. Then we're going to take the codes of those. Sorry, code CDs, code of that. And we're, well, I guess this is my txt, and then my shf with my shift of, let's say, 3. So then I guess the logic for this one is that it's kind of looping around the alphabet. So obviously that only makes sense if you only shift letters. So usually spaces, punctuation, other things get left out of this. So say islet, and that can be not exact upper of this with lower of this. And then we'll say shift code can be if this, then it's going to be my mod of this plus the shift by 26. And now if it's in the range of 65 to 90, meaning an uppercase letter, then I want it to have a basis of 65. Harry, no comment. Accented letters, jeez. I mean, no, I'm not going to deal with that. So if it's in the range 65 to 90, then I want it to be starting from 65. If it's in the range of 97 to 122 or something like that, which is lowercase letters, then I want it to be at a base of 97. The nifty thing about those is that they are both, the starting point for both is 32x plus 1. So in other words, 32 times 2 plus 1 is 65, which is the code of an uppercase A, and 32 times 3 plus 1 is 97, which is the code of a lowercase a. So I can say floor.math of the code, the next multiple of 32 below that, plus 1. So that anything in the range of 65 to 90, that will floor down to 64, and then plus 1 gets it to 65. Anything in the range of 97 to whatever it is, 122 or 3 or something, will floor down to 96 and plus 1. And then otherwise we just want, the existing code. And then SHF letter. CHF, no, I wanted to say SHF, but whatever. So then we'll, char of that. And actually, just to be a little safer, I'm going to replace Unicode, code and char with Unicode and unichar. It's not abusing the floor.math function, Harry. That is exactly what it's for. Anyway. So now, the reason I did that is just, let's say that we had big, I just abused the thingy thing grin emoji. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. So, excuse me. It does beg the question, wouldn't it be safer to build this not on a foundation of a letters lambda that is fallible that way? So, okay, fine. I don't think I will ever really need to worry about speed with a cipher lambda. Even as I say that, I'm like, no. Code cracking could definitely get speed-based, but anyway. So there is this option. So you can regex extract from here by period and 1, and that will work with most emoji. but it won't work with some particularly weird compound emoji, of which the example that comes to mind, I don't know if it, I'll find it here, is the pirate flag. Yes, there we go. I don't know if that's the right pirate flag, but let's see. Yes, so the pirate flag gets split out into black flag and skull and crossbones and some other stuff. So floor function in math is an integer. Harry, such a narrow-minded take. Eric mentioned a batch substitute, which is pretty nifty. I do remember when I was playing with like advent of code problems at some point, finding a string. I don't think there was any kind of totally general programmatic way to take something like an E with an accent and convert it into an E, because every character with an accent was just its own Unicode character, and so you just had to have like a list of all the characters with accents and a list of all the corresponding characters without accents. I have contemplated bringing that into my Lambda collection just in case somebody gets sneaky someday, but haven't done it yet. That's cool. Yeah, my bulk substitute option is now to use scan by call. Because you can just say scan by call, whatever. Let's say we want to take this, and these are the substitutions. Then we just say lambda a v substitute a v1 v2, and let's just make that a reduce and a all, and there it is. Anyway, sorry, getting very distracted. But if you, instead of using period, which is just a single character thing, if you use /x, that is the more resilient way of extracting emojis as displayed all as one character. So why not? Why not? I will use that, and then most of the rest will be the same. So we'll say Unicode. Oh, this will probably still not go back together right, because I think this is only giving the Unicode of the first character. That's interesting. So I don't know, I might have just bitten off more than I can chew here, but let's see. Upper that with lower that. Then we can say if this, then mod of this plus shift by 26, floor.math of this to 32 plus 1. Yeah, and then maybe we just leave those blank, and then instead of, so the way I originally did it was you could say unichar of this, and sorry, the original version I also had this. So if it's not a letter, then just give it back. But that's, yeah, that is just giving black flag instead of pirate flag. So rather than, if it's not a letter, then I just won't put it through the Unicode thing at all. So I'll just say if it's a letter, then give me that. Otherwise, just go back to the original character. And that way it won't screw with the pirate flag. And then concat. Cool. All right. Is that it? No, I want to mark these as inputs. And then save Lambda. So let's see what we got. Got letters to codes, islet. That all seems fine. Okay. And I'll call that cipher. Okay. All right, so that's that done and that done. Yeah, this is a very simple one, but just a basic idea. I want something that will classify, like that I can apply to a range like this, for example, that will classify which of these are uppercase numbers, lowercase numbers, letters, and everything else. Sorry, I think I said uppercase and lowercase numbers. That's not good. Anyway, some text 1, 2, 3 to be encrypted. Okay, so very simple idea. I just want to be able to say lambda r. So this will start with if exact upper r lower r, then you're in the range of digits and symbols. So then we'll say if is number 1 times r, then d, otherwise s. Otherwise, we'll say we're in the realm of letters. I'm a little torn on this. Part of me feels like I want a single character output for each one, so I just have U for uppercase, L for lowercase. Part of me feels like I want something that can identify letters, and then within that upper and lowercase. So maybe I want like letter upper, letter lower. Slightly torn. So anyway, for now, we'll say if exact r upper r, then uppercase letter, otherwise lowercase letter. Close if, close if, close if, and give it this. So we got, yes, uppercase letter, lowercase letters, symbol. Like slightly torn if I want like more categories for kind of punctuation, space, that kind of thing, but I don't think so. The things I'm likely to use it for. All right. I don't know. Let's not overthink it. Save lambda, and I guess I think I'm going to call that cat as in character category. Save. All right, let's catch up. I think I missed some messages in the chat. Paste robot command version of that, so yeah, that's quite cool. Could optionally shift by a lambda that takes in previous substring. Oh my word. Interesting. I don't think I want to do it that complicated. What I can do is, like the way this is written, this will work with SHF being being a scalar, or with it being a vector of the same size as this. So I could, like, let's just start with it. No, I can't start with a simple option because I've deliberately made it something with emojis. But so let's do cipher of this text, -3. Yes. So we could do something like sequence, comma, columns of regex extract this by /x. And that would have, like this is just, you know, columns of regex extract of this x is just the extremely convoluted version of len to allow for the emojis. But let's just get rid of the emojis for a minute. Just replace this with len of this and this. So that way we're shifting each letter by a different amount. But I think that's as complex as I care to make that one for now. Okay, so I save that category. Rotate lambda. This is like actually surprisingly simple. Like simple enough that honestly I feel like it doesn't save me a lot of time, but save me some time. So, oops. There are different ways you can achieve this, but my preferred way is to start off by a transpose and then apply a flip. And so if I do a horizontal flip only, then my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is now down here. So that translates to a clockwise rotation. And if I apply a vertical flip only, then my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is now down here. So that corresponds to an anti-clockwise rotation. So I want lambda array rots. And we're going to say choose, I'm going to say if omitted rots. So my default will be 1 clockwise rotation. I want to mod the number of rotations. Actually, wait, I want to dim mod the number of rotations by 4. And then we're going to choose, so if I make 1 rotation, that is going to be this. If I make 2 rotations, is that just a flip? Horizontal and vertical? Yes, I think so. Then we'll just say flip of array. If I make 3 rotations, then it's the other one of those. And if I make 4 rotations, it's just back to the array. And save lambda. I'll call that rotate. Oh. Did I already do this, huh? Oops. I wonder if I did it the same way. Yep, yeah, it's basically exactly the same. All right, fine. Guess that's already done. Cool. And then I had one other thing. Oh yeah. Oops, sorry. So I have this reg pattern, which is quite a useful thing. So the original context for it was, I think, like election time or laundry time, or one of those where you had a mix of, for example, a left shoe and a sock. No, I guess it was a right sock or sock right. I don't remember. But like some things were single character, like a hoodie or a t-shirt, and some things were multi-character, like left shoe. And so you had left shoe, right shoe, left sock, right sock, hoodie, t-shirt. And then also, I think the elections are coming one also was not prefix free, so there was like party A, and then there was just party. And other weird things like that. Let me just grab elections are coming. It'll probably be easier to understand the value of this with an example. That was 23, I think. MEWC. It was in the finals, I think. Cases. No, that's just the prelim rounds. That's not what I want. Here it is, finals. Cases and answers. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, because 23 was in Vegas. That's not right. It was 22. Back when it was still all online. Excel World Cup. Here it is, question and answer files. I've like slightly changed the way I organize my files every year as I go along, which is terrible practice. But anyway, get there. Okay, so this is called Elections Are Coming. And we have, yeah, here it is. So like B is the black party, BW is the blue-white party, R is the red party, YB is the yellow-blue party, and P is the purple party. So, you couldn't, in the last level, you were given one undelimited string of everybody's votes, and you had to figure out something about how many people voted for which party. So you couldn't just count the number of Bs, because then you'd be counting black plus black white plus yellow blue. Can't believe I still have the help tab in it. I don't even know what anyway, so the idea is I have this, import lambdas. I have this reg pattern lambda that you can give this. Oh god, merged cells. Brutal. And God, that's very zoomed out. and that will generate this regex pattern that says BW or YB or B or R or P. And the way it works is that it sorts them descending by length, so that, in other words, if there's a BW that you can match, like if it hits a B, it won't match it against the B before it's looked to see if there's a W after, and if there is, it'll match it against a BW. So that is reg pattern. And then once you have that, you can quite easily come down here and say regex extract from here, wherever that bloody pattern is. Here it is. And 1. And that splits it out immediately into 1,000 votes without having to worry about the fact that they're of different lengths. And you know, the way people generally tackle this was like a bunch of substitutions to like either bulk everything up to 2 characters or slim everything down to 1 character. But with the reg pattern, you don't need to do that. But anyway, I had a situation. Oh yeah, it was the Madagascar case. Let me see if I can find that also. 2025 regional Madagascar. It was round 2. Yes, it was this one. It was where you had to like classify. You had these kind of free text descriptions, something like paid the monthly rent on an apartment in blah, 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 blah. And there were various keywords, like if it contains the word rent or cleaning or gardener or housekeeper or appliance, etc., then it's housekeeping, housing and household. If it contains Jirma, internet, Canal Plus, mobile credit, data bundle, SIM card, etc., then it's utilities, and so on down. And similarly for, like, you know, if it contained cash or bank card / transfer, there were keywords for each of those as well. And so oh yeah, sorry, the additional twist on this was it had to be an exact word, which is what got me thinking about this. So for example, if it was about car, then that might go in here for car is in there for transportation. But if there was something about carpet, then that would belong in housing or whatever. So there were lots of. It wasn't that these only contained these words in some combination. There were lots of extraneous words in there as well, and so yeah, you had to kind of figure out which things contain these exact words. And reg pattern was a nice way to do that. So here I just added a /b, which is a word break before and after. But I would like to make that an option. So that is to match a word break, but there's also, I actually have to go and Google now what they are, but there are, I think it's like a caret for the start and a dollar for the end, or something like that. There are characters in regex that represent the beginning or the end of the string. Let me just quickly Google that. Regex start and end of line of string. Line anchors they're called, and yes, it is caret and dollar. I was right. Caret for the start and dollar for the end. Okay, cool. So I guess what I want is I want options for, does it have to start at the start of the string or the start of a word? Does it have to end at the start of the string or the start of a word, or the end of a word and end of the string? Or do I want, yeah, I think there's definitely situations where I will want it has to start with but not has to end with, or something like that. Okay, so let's just, I guess, come back into my main file. Might as well make my edits there. So we'll say reg pattern of this and edit lambda. So I want to add 3 optional arguments. I want to have start, end, And I also want an option for case sensitivity, or I guess case insense. Okay. So then, let's see. Do I need to spell these out more? Yes, I guess. So let's see. Start can be one. Regex. Ooh, good starting point for regex. I mean, when regex first came out, I made a series of 3 videos. That was like, you know, me learning regex properly for the first time. And it was kind of, I made them at the end of a couple of days of playing around with it. So it was like the basic stuff covered from the perspective of someone who didn't know any of this stuff 48 hours ago. So that's not a terrible place to start. I wouldn't say I've gone particularly deep with any of it yet. Bo does some pretty cool stuff with regex. Or if you want to like get really advanced, there's a guy on LinkedIn who goes by JVDV, I think, who does like dark magic and wizardry, and also has started recently setting like regex challenges, which are a great way to kind of learn, push yourself, whatever. He does them in like super clever, creative ways. So that would be what I would suggest. All right, so yeah, so start was going to be 1 word and 2 string, or say line. I'll find that easier to remember. I guess I don't need to spell out all the same stuff here. Maybe I will just to be safe. Okay, so then so to list, I'm going to add at the start. I guess switch is fine. Start. Oh yeah. Ugh, optional arguments don't autocomplete. Why not? Why on earth not? Yeah, that's fine. So if it's 1, then I want /b. If it's 2, then there's caret for the start, right? Yes. Then I want caret. And if it's other, meaning omitted, or meaning I've made a mistake, then nothing. And that. And this, and then this one. And again, if it's a word break /b, and if it's an end of line $. Cool. So then, say I want it to be the start of a word. Cool. I want it to be the start of a line. Cool. I want it to be. Okay, I'll see you later. Cool. Okay. I need to do some testing with this, but that seems to basically work. And then there's also, I want to say it might be /i, but there's a code you can add in regex to make it case insensitive. And if you're using the regex functions themselves, there's an option for case insensitivity. But if you're using xlookup, for example, with regex mode, there isn't an option for case insensitivity, and so there is a value in being able to make the pattern itself be case insensitive. I just need to double check what that is. Regex case insensitive flag, I guess. I think it's /i. The I flag is used, yes. That's the inline modifier. That's doesn't look like the syntax I was expecting. All right, well, let's just test. Let's do regex test of this on O, true, on O, false. And if I do /i, we didn't like that at all. What? Okay, maybe it is. Something that was question. No, I'll deal with that. Okay, hang on. All right, let's be more specific in the search. Regex case insensitive flag XL. Okay, essentially saying put this in brackets. I don't know if that helps. Okay, well, it's not throwing value errors anymore anyway. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that is what I need. Let's go back to where I can see the chat. All right. And then I don't know if I search for RH. That's true. Okay. I think that's all I need. So then it's this. I guess I will just put it here at the start. So I'm going to say if case in sense, then that, otherwise nothing, and that. Okay, and then if I add a 1 there, that's cool. And let's just make some of these different. So make that OL, that H, and then let's regex extract from here by this. And that matches nothing because I'm asking for it to be a match at the start and the end. That spills, that's fine. Okay, cool. And then if I, sorry, this is where I want to make the changes. If I drop the case sensitivity, yes, good. If I say it has to match the start of a word, it gets just that one. But if I do that, it picks up a couple more. Say it has to be also at the end. It loses both of those. But if I do that, it picks back. Yeah, that looks good. Case insensitive. Okay. Happy with that. Cool. Save Lambda. Okay. Not my most ambitious Lambda lab, but that is, let me just take a quick look at my Unicode range. I think I've done some of these. Nearby only option and distance filter to map RC. Do that one now. Multi-set functions. I'm not going to do that now. Step move forward, fine. Oh yeah, I did another small one that's on my list is I have a clip function so that I can, let's say I'm only interested in things being between 5 and 15. Oops. So just, I've seen other people call this clamp, which is maybe a more evocative name for it, but anyway. So everything below 5 gets brought up to 5, everything above 15 gets brought down to 15. But for some reason, I didn't make the arguments optional in this, so I could put in, 10 to the 12 or something, but would make much more sense to just have those arguments be optional. So let's just fix that quickly. So low and high both become optional. So if range is less than low, times not is omitted, low. And same thing here. Range is greater than high times not is omitted, high. I think that'll do it. There, much better. Clip 5 above, yes, that works. How does clip differ from median? Arrays is the answer. So if you apply it cell by cell, then median 5, 15, this will give you the same thing. or it will if I change this back to 5 and 15. But if you apply it to the whole array, then you just get one median, which is the median of all those 22 values. You could map, but then, so somewhere on my list is, I haven't spelled it out here, but anyway, is a version of map. I think Bo has one actually, that broadcasts. So if you want to map, median here, it's not enough to say, so you could say map, or I guess you could do it on the inside. Yeah, I suppose you could. Never mind, I'm being silly. So you could map that lambda num, which is fine. Why map if you don't have to, I suppose. Reminded me just now that there was something else. I'm going to wrap it up relatively soon. Ooh, underscore median. I don't know. In my mind, clip is a different thing to median. Yeah, I don't think I have much use in general for a sort of generalized median function. Just this one. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. So I have this range function. I wanted to add another piece of functionality to that. Again, this is a pretty small change. So let's just point it at this. So this has various different options. The default is the range, as in the biggest minus the smallest. You can get it to give you the max and the min separately. You can get it to give you a sequence from the min to the max, or a sequence from the min to the max going across, which would work better if I had a little more space. What I want to add is a fifth option here, which is specifically designed for the range of a series of row column numbers. So, for example, if I were to say row column of this, then I want to be able to, let's just say let's say we kill a bunch of these, kill that, and I don't know, let's make it spell a letter or something, because that's cool. So let's say we get 2 row of this. The sort of proximate inspiration for this, I think, was the Pipemare case, which asked you about the letters spelled out by different shapes. The genius of having a lambda called range is if people steal it and remove the underscore they made up with. I'm not trying to poison pill my lambdas, Harry, although I can see how that would appeal to a certain kind of mind. Anyway, so the question asked you about, if you read each path as a letter, and I didn't get it done in the time anyway, so it didn't matter. But I read it as like I thought that they would trace out a nonsense kind of non-message in the maze itself, because you had to take them in the order that they appeared in the game. Now it turned out they appeared in the maze in the same order they appeared in the question, so that wasn't a thing. But I was trying to think, okay, so if I have the path that I walked in each of the 20 levels, how could I turn that into a letter in a way that I could put through a data table? And this was basically the idea. So let's edit lambda. So I'm going to choose, yes, so the default is 1, that's good. So I just need to add one more thing here. And this is going to be sequence. Of max, hang on, say let row nums be 2 row of R. That, all right, just 1 second. Yes, I'm home. Elizabeth's not coming today. I'll tell you about that when I come down. All right, well, that's my cue that it's time to wrap up. Anyway, let's try and finish this. Columns is going to be to col of r, not e, r. Okay, then the sequence that I want is max of row nums. Sorry, this one I want going down the row, so it's going to be max of row nums minus min of row nums plus 1, starting from min of row nums times m, which is my big constant, plus the same thing for the columns. So just change each of these to col. Do I got brackets in the right place? No, I'm missing one. Yep, that looks good. So then let's call that with a 5. That's not. Oh, right, interesting. I guess 2 row in this context. So I obviously this is meant to be pointed at a range of row column numbers, and right now it's pointing at 1 to 20. But 1 to 20 interpreted as row column numbers is they're all in row 0. So actually this is, in a narrow sense, outputting correctly. But for it to really work, you have to point it at a range like this. No, that's not working. Oh, right, because I need to make this one go across. And like that. Okay. So then, if I wanted to be able to say, you know, what letter do these spell out if I lay them out in space, I could say minus minus is number x match this against range of this 5. No, what? Oh, sorry, other way around. X match the range against those values. And then whatever. That's so you do it like that, or you could say something like if is number that, then x was space, and then you could concat. Sorry, let's do by row concat. Need a mono space font. Monotype? No, that's not. Anyway, whatever. I can't remember the name of a monotype font. And then you could concat all of that and wrap it. What on earth is going on there? Oh, sorry. So concat that and there you go. It doesn't really work without monospace, but that gets it all down into a single character, which you could then data table. Or just more generally, if you want to be able to, visualize the space that these trace out or anything like that. Don't know how often I'll use it, but it's a pretty easy addition to my existing range thing, so there it is. All right, I think that is it for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming along at surprisingly, or not surprisingly, but at short notice. Harry says roboto, and that does ring a bell. Okay, let's... I guess not. No, that sure doesn't look monospace to me. Anyway, doesn't matter. Cool. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time in stream.